So this episode of the Owl House, is a fan favorite episode, episode 16. We only have 3 more episodes of this show to go, and all of them I will be reviewing next week. Um, the thing that interests me about this episode the most is that, like, I don't. This is a fan favorite episode just because the two characters that hook up in this episode, and they don't really hook up, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's hinted at in the other episodes, but basically in this episode we have this universe's version of prom, which is like, I have kind of an issue with this episode. Is that before this episode, I just assumed all these characters were like middle schoolers, like 12 to 13-year olds, maybe at best 14-year olds. But you're telling me they're high schoolers? Like, they look like middle schoolers? I think that's just a flaw with the character designs. They're not that tall, so they just look kind of like middle schoolers. But whatever. But Amity is in charge of fighting off this monster that makes everyone's fear come true, and if you don't fight it off, it attacks the town. Well, Luce agrees to take her place and fight off for her, and then we find out that basically she wanted to go with Luce, and that was the big twist. And it's like, people just like this twist because those characters share a dance, which isn't a romantic dance, it's like a friendship dance, but it's hinted at that they might be in a relationship later down the line of the show, which is like, okay, but there's still like some issues with the writing here. Like, for one, this relationship just kind of comes out of nowhere. Oh wow, Amity thinks she's cool because she's done things she could never do. Like what? Like be a human, stand up for odd different people, like Willow, I guess. I mean, yeah, she does different things, but it's kind of like there needed to be another episode to set this up before this kind of set up. Yeah, there was hints at it, but they were tiny hints. They weren't big hints. They were like, oh, I'm not saying this needed to be like in your face. I'm saying it just needed to be a little more pointed out and a little more set up before they drop this episode. And then it's just kind of like, cool, I guess. It's kind of like, I hate how episodes like this become so popular. Wow, they have a reveal that's representation. I'm like, cool, representation, that's cool and all, but like, we can't just praise something because it represents a certain group. We need to praise it on its own merits of like how well it's written and stuff. Like, because if I was a black person and I saw a movie with an all black cast and the movie sucked, I'd be disappointed, right? Because that represents my race, right? Why would I want to watch that? I'd rather have people be watching a well written movie with an all black cast, a really well made movie, and have that represented, right? It's just such a stupid thing people do where they flock to something because it's such, oh, that's representation. Representation matters. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but when we force it, anything that's representation, to be like above criticism and praise it as the best before it's even out, or before even it's even real representation, because this episode, again, they're still friends at the episode. There's hints to something more, but it's not something more. So people are like, it's representation. Representation that hasn't happened canonically in the universe of the show. That's all I'm saying.